And gentlemen, welcome to Project Eris. I am your one of your casters, Misfit Midas, and joined by my observer Kazrep. And tonight we're going to be watching Team Sinister versus Homeland Esports here. So, if you're not super familiar with what Project Eris is, right? It's a brand new community project headed by some of the major figures inside the community to allow a place for an all-inclusive women's league to be able to, allow and give those people a chance to come into a full league with a large prize money, a large backing, a large following, and make the community, kind of have this really strong project. So they have 10 teams in Project Eris, and so 8 of those are going to get played on stream every single week. And so the 4 games, and then that 5th game with those last 2 teams are going to get played off stream. And again, giving back to the community. Project Eris is giving that game to some community casters. So tonight you're going to have me, Misfit Minus, and again joined by Kazrep to kind of walk you guys through the game tonight. We've already gone through map bans. So Team Sinister and Homeland Esports banned all the way down to Chalet. So we're actually going to get to see Chalet, and that's going to be Homeland Esports on defense with Team Sinister on overtime defense. In any case, though, all the players are ready, loaded, and in the lobby. So we're going to go ahead and get started here. And again, week playdate number 1 for Project Eris here. Team Sinister versus Homeland Esports.
Definitely be a fun game to watch. I am so excited to watch this today. This is my first stream with the league, so I'm very eager to get this rolling. It's Chalet, which is one of my favorite maps. I really love the rework, and yeah, I'm really excited to get this going.
Yeah, and again, like just the massive amount of time that's been put into this project, right? Is honestly incredible. And if you want to know more about Project Eris, you can hit the exclamation point Project Eris down in the chat or exclamation point commands for a full list of the commands there. Or you can search them out on Twitter, Twitter, Twitch, etc. Every all the social media that they're going to have set up there, and they also have a Discord, which you can also find in that exclamation point Project Eris command here in the Twitch chat. But I just again extremely impressed by kind of just the quality of effort that's been put into this league to kind of give these people a chance and to show themselves off, right? Like that's what everybody wants, is to be able to get out and get involved in the community, and this is one of those great options for that. But again, it looks like all the players are finally ready on both teams, so we're going to get loaded in and started here on Chalet. And this is the week 1 play day for a chance at a total prize pool of $10,000 between cash and prizes. So the first place team for the league actually going to be able to take home what gets close to about $2,000, which is crazy, especially if you start including kind of some other pieces of the prize money there, with some of the prizes fall on. So we're going to get right into operator bans, and since Homeland is on defense, they're going to get those first and last bans with Team Sinister in the middle. So the first 2 attacking bans, and then the last 2 are going to be defender bans, and again 1 per team on each side. Maverick's going to come out first though, and that's really going to stop a lot of some of the efforts there on both of the garage walls, more so on that front side, but extremely important for Chalet, especially with the amount of nades and remainder of that utility that Maverick brings. He's just kind of this all-inclusive Harbridge operator that once he's done his job still has 2 nades plus an incredible gun. So that's an incredibly strong operator. Then the Jackal band coming out from Team Sinister and starting on attack, a little odd. But important to note, though, right? We don't have a Thatcher band here, which is something honestly more and more you don't really see very often. But I'm glad to see it. And it shows that, again, both these teams are super comfortable with the Thatcher ban, or at least Sinister is, assuming maybe Homeland thought that they would ban the Thatcher and get that double ban out. But the Thatcher on the board, that's going to, I think, make this map a little bit more kinetic. And you're going to see maybe some more gunfights come out because less and less will be spent on trying to, set themselves up for the execute and the walls. Defensive bans, that Valk's going to come out. I don't know if you expect the Valk ban or what you thought for Chalet.
I like the Valk ban. I think that's a good ban. Valk is strong on a lot of maps, especially in the maps that require a lot of vertical play. I think one of the biggest threats she brings is her C4. Her C4, just with combined with the intelligence of her cameras, it's just an instant free kill. Or she can, lurk while a plant is going down and just chuck a C4 and just completely deny everything. So I think that's a good ban here because there is a lot of vertical play here. And yeah, I think that's going to give them an advantage.
Yeah, and the Mira too. We see that final kind of band come out there on the Mira, and that's going to be a big piece of some of those bar stock or even those kitchen defenses that you're going to see. Not necessarily upstairs, But again, talking about bar stock, right? Or excuse me, not bar stock, bar. That's going to be the very first site that we're going to go to here on Chalet. So Homeland choosing to start there. Statistically one of the stronger bomb sites on Chalet. That and Kitchen, those two first floor sites seen as kind of the most favorable sites to get started on. And so we're going to see him go there. And it's going to be a pretty standard lineup here, including that Frost, Rooney, and Smoke. So one of the big things to note, right, when you're looking at this kind of lineup, Frost, especially with the inclusivity of her shotgun now, and also her deployable shield, in addition to those 3 frost mats, makes her even more so kind of the window queen, and especially on Chalet, incredibly useful for kind of an upstairs defense here when you're trying to play extended. And if you're not super familiar with kind of competitive play or higher tier ranks play, a lot of times you're going to see, some of the ways that these teams can expand on this site and be able to play extended, right? So I will not be surprised here to see Homeland stretch all the way out to, the master balcony on their defense, all the way down below for C4 play, and then even all the way through into, kind of that bar stock area with maybe just like a single operator kind of hold out for the team that's going to be playing there. However, Sinister going to get started here on the attack, and that's going to be over from the Solarium side. So lots of utility burn and denial also kind of on their side. So we're going to see that Thatcher come out, also a couple sets of flashes, the nades, and then also you still have Zofia, which Brittany props using them 7.62 as opposed to the OMG, which we've been seeing more and more since the recoil nerf, but very aggressively here inside the first minute being droned in by her team, and Team Sinister already has office and piano control. So that's that top half of the map kind of just established here. And we acknowledge the audio issues, working to kind of fix those. So we're working to fix kind of the audio issues for the in game right now, but at the same time we can still kind of watch the sound. What we're going to see here is Pyra prepping to burn some of the utility here into piano to try and clear that ever common shield on the top of blue stairs that Homeland's kind of running and able to kind of extend this. But what I really like from Homeland's setup here is you can see that the fireplace player, normally again is there to slow the aggression from kind of that reinforced piano wall. You just see ping there, and then also the piano push into that top blue stairs angle. However, they've also opened up to the left there, the feet holes into fireplace, and that's allowing that player on fireplace to kind of peek aggressively on both sides. Now they're going to start the utility burn, and so those flashes from Pyre are going to come out there, the hard breach, and then get prepped for the nades here as the Thatchers both also used, and quite a bit of damage taken from both Brittany and Queen from that initial C4, but the nades are going to come out and rotate them down off of blue stairs. And again, with just 55 seconds left, pretty good amount of control from Team Sinister, but not quite enough to make it happen yet. So you see Pyro rotating all the way around. And again, that is with the diffuser to start trying to put some of that pressure on to the library side. And with just 30 seconds left, it's still a 5v5, which again, if you're not super familiar with, kind of the progression for competitive play or some of that higher level play, this is not an uncommon thing to see. But the opening kill is actually going to go out onto Pyre, despite Brittany taking a load of damage too. And so Dire able to get it. The opening kill, Brittany's going to push onto Fireplace, but ultimately lose to Ava there, and just left with a sliver of HP. And that Jaeger at the top, E-Girl able to take out onto Strona, and that's going to be the Sledge doing work there from below, and Tex returns right back onto Lady Brutal. E-Girl trades back out, now left in a 1v3 with just a couple seconds left. It's all up to Queen here for a team, but round number 1 going to go to Homeland, and just ultimately really due, honestly, to the pacing of the round from Team Sinister. Homeland doing a great job, just able to expand on the map, and again, kind of reducing that control. Not They didn't even really, to be honest, have to play aggressively on that master and trophy side to even be able to do anything right there. Ultimately, it was the kind of just that time burn that you see on top fireplace. And we're going back with game audio there. So we do have game audio now. But sorry for that. But again, it was just all set up there on fireplace and top blue stairs and kind of in that library defense. And you saw just one player really kind of playing side or underneath, and Homeland really taking advantage of the expansion there on their defense, and Team Sinister not really able to kind of feed into that in order to make it happen.
As many bombs as they can.
But in any case, we're going to get into round number 2 here, and we talked about it, right? The first 4 kind of being some of those primary bomb sites. So Homeland setting up and actually alternating now upstairs into master bedroom. So for their second site, one of those trade-off kind of secondary and tertiary sites between both master bedroom and kitchen. Able to open it up, and it looks like a couple modifications here with that library extension. So we do see Tex on the pulse, and so that's going to be some of that kind of underneath play, both from him, not imagine one of the other C4s there for Homeland going to be playing underneath, and Team Sinister going to have a tall task here if they want to be able to aggressively attack this Homeland defense enough time to give themselves room for the execute. You know, it wasn't even really honestly like Team Sinister was losing gunfights. Ultimately, it was just more that they had burned so much time on the initial clear that they were really unable to just kind of close out the round there near the end. But similar lineup here from Team Sinister, no adjustments made. Just kind of sticking with that utility clear / burn lineup. Just gonna have to do it a little bit quicker here if they want to see results on round number 2 here for Team Sinister. Snow just 30 seconds on the way. The initial clear actually rotating around now. So instead of attacking kind of on that trophy and that solar side that we've seen, actually some more of the Pro League teams tend to do, even on a master attack, instead opting for that clear from underneath there, both in games and bar side and also upstairs in library. But this is an entirely full first floor clear. They saw the pulse. They more than likely burned him out, and now making a very aggressive push to get Tex and her teammates local pushed out. Initial ping is going to come out, the wall is going to open up, and now just barely held by Strona. Tex is going to have a lot of work to do with that UMP 45 inside of kitchen if she wants to survive longer into the round. Secret able to take out onto Queen though, and that's going to be the opening kill there with the M590, and Secret going to go down back to Eagle though, so that's a trade 1-for-1, but still underneath again is Strona and Tex, and I say that Brittany's opens onto Tex and almost trade out there by Strona, but not quite able to fully connect there with the head. And now we're in a 4v3 situation though for Team Sinister, and I think they finally found their pacing, a little bit able to, maybe move a little bit more aggressively here against Homeland, as now they're spiking up onto the Ego balcony and moving up into fireplace. Ava closely holding on the shield, and again we saw Sinister take a while to kind of clear through some of this utility early on. You can see the yellow pings even coming out there on the camera onto the attackers. But the Zofia charge actually going to miss there on the shield, really unable to connect. And kind of, again, kind of a sad piece, especially considering the amount of utility available, and then also just the amount of, ability with Thatcher to also be able to deny that just one ADS on it. But Ava burnt the time she needs to burn. 45 seconds left, falls back into sight. Now it's a 3v4 as Team Sinister prepares for the execute. E-Girl stacked up on Eagle balcony, looking for that opening pick down into Master as part of the execute. Pyra prepped on the breach for the plant spot, and Brittany and Lady going to be coming up on the side, both between the flanks and the piano take. But the smoke, Toxic Baby's being burned out really well here from Dire. And again, just really brilliant utility usages. Homeland's able to slow down the aggression here from Team Sinister. And with all 3 Toxic Babes are timed perfectly, but Pyra actually able to make the connection, but Strona closes out, and Ava onto Brittany, and it's looking more and more like a second round for Homeland. Dire gets yet another kill, and once again, all up to Lady Brutal in a 1v3 for Team Sinister, but really unable to close out as Homeland takes round number 2 and now up 2-0.
Now, I'm noticing things are running a little bit slow for this first couple rounds. Do you think the patience is helping them or hurting them? Because I noticed a lot of the action is happening at the end there, but it doesn't seem to be really working out. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so for me, right, and from an outsider perspective, obviously there's a lot of things that we really can't see going on internally to the game and, internally to the team. It looked like their hardest point was kind of that mid-round transition once again, right? We've seen an incredibly aggressive entry and initial clear from Team Sinister both times, and that's, again, both on the initial side as they cleared from Solar across, they were already immediately established in piano and office in under 30 seconds. And then we see the same thing, right? They do a great job identifying Homeland has that pulse player beneath, along with maybe some additional help. And Team Sinister opts for that aggressive clear, and within 30 seconds, they're already trading gunfire into kitchen and into that kind of trophy region to close those people out. We see it come into a 4v3 advantage for them, and then the stall happens, right? And which again, it's a bit confusing considering the amount of utility available to them. I mean, we've seen, 6 sets of flashes, unless Lady Brutal's running breaches, I can't really see. And then, the EMP grenades, plus also, Brittany's 2 stun or concussions, and then also the actual 2 charges she has. And so I think they have too much utility to allow them to stall out against, just a couple shields. We've seen it. I mean, quite literally against shields every time on that push. We're still in that shield meta, and we're on our way out of it, but we're still kind of in that. So attacking teams have to be comfortable with using utility to clear that, and they brought more than enough in their lineup to get rid of it. They just, I think, needed to solidify, or maybe they need some more of that mid-round direction from their IGL, because again, their entry is incredibly flawless, right? Their opening aggression is perfect.
Right.
They just need to kind of maintain that through that mid-round push.
Yeah, I think if they can figure out closing out the rounds at the end there, I think they can really turn this around.
We're gonna see them once again, try to, again, so we talked about the first 4 site promos, right? We're finally back down to Kitchen Trophy, completely ignoring basement, as for the most part, that's not really seen too much in comp play, although some teams will attempt it. But again, opting for this kind of library side take into Homeland's defense. So, if we look at Homeland's defense breakdown right now, you see Tex in piano with both Goyo shields. You see arena gates, you see holes opened, all pointed towards fireplace. Homeland very clearly expecting a fireplace slash piano, office side attack. But the problem is, right, is we already know that Team Sinister were incredibly slow on this initial aggression from this side into office. The problem is, and the beauty of downstairs sites, is that they're now working to kind of get that top control, but once they get into site, which already took them long enough to begin with upstairs, now they still have to be able to clear and execute onto the site that's actually below it. And again, that's the beauty for downstairs sites for the defense, but the dilemma for attackers, and really trying to figure out that blend, especially when you're looking at 4 shields across the board for the Homeland Nation defense, which again, good for them for reading out kind of maybe Team Sinister struggle with clearing that utility.
Yeah, definitely a lot of vertical play that you got to worry about, especially with this kind of sites.
Yeah, and again, we see, right? So already 2 minutes elapsed, and we still have defenders upstairs, not quite playing as aggressively, because I mean they're burning time whether they're there or not with the time that kind of Team Sinister's taking. But my fear is now, because Sinister hasn't really traded out on anybody in the initial, that this aggression is going to get very complicated. But Brittany, right as I say that, opens up and crushes Ava there with the headshots. That's going to be Diego out and away from upstairs. So upstairs finally clear, but now they just have to contend with the basement and the middle floors sites. Once again, unable to close out there on that bulletproof camera, because most of the utility, again, used already kind of above, but again, good usage of the utility above. So they're going to have to really come back here with both C4s and toxic canisters in order to prep for this plant with just 20 seconds left. Shots straight out there on the SMG-11. Toxic Babes continue to ring out. Pyro's putting the plant down right behind dining room table, though, but really no contention from Tex. The only C4 there able to get shot out close, and the plant's going to go down as E-Girl and Queen trade out on open into Strona and Tex. And now in a 5v2 situation, Team Sinister is looking head on into a flawless romp as long as they can read this flank from Secret upstairs. E-Girl onto Dire now in a 5v1. And to close out there from Pyre on to Secret at the top of Fireplace Stairs. And that is a flawless round for Team Sinister after going down 0-2 in the first 2 rounds.
Seemed like this time around that site was a little bit easier. They got the hard reach in, they got the walls open, they got the plant down, and they still had their whole team basically by the end there. No, they had their whole team at the end there. It was a 1v5.
Yeah, I know they did. Yeah, it was a flawless round. And okay. So we're going to have a dilemma. And if you watch Pro League, you're going to understand that this is kind of a soapbox opera that Kickstarter rides religiously. Homeland, okay? Holding above. They know that Team Sinister takes forever to try and clear, at least based on the first 2 rounds, right? Maybe they're finally finding their footing, etc. But they know that after the first 2 rounds, it's taken them forever to clear across. What they did was, after a minute, they rotated downstairs, gave up all their vertical positioning except for the one player that was left alone, and that was Ava, and expected magic to happen. But the problem is, right, you only have so many toxic babes, you only had one C4 on board. The C4 was shot out, so it didn't connect, and the toxic babes were used before the plant started going down to, again, buy more time and just rely on gunfights near the end.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Was he out of smokes when the plant was going down?
He was, yeah, or okay. She was, sorry, yeah. So she was. She was out of smokes, and But that was, again, because, you know, the choices, right? Again, deliberate choices all around long, but the deliberate choices were to use the smoke to buy time before the plant happens, as opposed to trying to stop the plant once it's already starting. And
Okay.
opting for the gunfights, but then obviously, you know, they lost the gunfights when they went to stuff. My problem with their defense, though, on that one, right? And I think they could repeat it and win, is all Homeland has to do is set up, you know, their vertical play from above, and then just hold it. Because, again, Sinister is not doing a really good job of clearing utility upstairs as much in terms of like letting players fall off. So I think they should just hold their ground, and we should have seen something quite a bit different there near the end of the round. And again, you'll see Kickstar talk about that a lot. It's just how American defenses tend to start and then collapse without a lot of pressure, as opposed to maybe some of the other regions very aggressively defending those tight defender spots on roam and making the attackers fight for every inch of ground, which on a team that's already kind of strategically and naturally slow, that's going to burn a lot of time. And so maybe Homeland just needs to relook at that. But in any case, I've went on my soapbox for too long. We're a minute
Barely missing that frost mat there. Did you see that?
Yeah, and we're going back over to Bar, and Homeland seems to be playing a pretty similar strat, seems like kind of the same setup here. So Sinister, knowing that in a minute, already into piano and office there, and set up and ready to try and take number 2 here onto the Bar defense of Homeland. So again, we pretty aggressive here in terms of their ability to kind of take really early on, but then they slow out as the round gets pretty late here into the execution. So as we start now looking into that mid-round trade, though, Ave actually gonna take some shots, and that's all the way across from Pyra on that library balcony. Or no, Lady, excuse me, Lady Brutal on the library balcony. Again, much quicker though, right? So the shield's going away, already on top blue. They still just now have to contend with that fireplace player, but Team Sinister finally starting to get in that groove, and Homeland Esports not giving up much ground, fighting pretty aggressively here. But realize, you know, that they have a little bit more time to burn here before they can rotate down if that's their goal.
And here we are again at the minute mark with all 10 players on the board. So it looks like they're, you know, once again just taking their time, just holding the angles, trying to find early picks if they can. But yeah, that once again we're going for that late plant.
Yeah, I really like the way they have tech set up here too, and it's a pretty similar hold to kind of what you see a lot, but it's effective because it works, you know. And so Tech's playing above, able to hold the window entry below into, you know, that bar game side area. Brittany opens up onto Ava, and that's going to be actually Fireplace Gods. That's going to be a huge pick here for Sinister. Just 30 seconds left. They still need to clear Tech's above in that power position we were just talking about. Secret trades out on the Queen. That's going to be deep from below, looking on to kind of that top main fireplace area. And Brittany again with the double kill onto Tex, but finally caught by the Frost Trap and Dire on the E-Girl. So now Team Sinister finds himself here with just 10 seconds left in a 3v3. And the execution going to come after very quick, but Dire holding with SMG11 on bottom, but Struna onto Brittany and looking fairly dire as Lady Blue is also down and once again left in a 1v3. And that's Struna with the big triple kill there near the end, breaking between both Throny and the handgun, and that is round number 3 for Homeland here on Chalet. And we talk about it, right? Like that, the walk in, the entry in has been incredible from Sinister, and their ability to just kind of rapidly trust their drones to get on the initial early. Brittany, great opening double kill there, excuse me, both on Fireplace and into Library, but then just not really able to coordinate that final execute, and they're not setting themselves up for that final execute because they're spending so much time on that initial roam clear. And for Homeland, I think if Homeland were to take that defense you saw right there, aggressively holding their spots and transition it to their kitchen defense, I think they also have a round one there. And you know, in round number 3 we saw just a second ago.
What do you think the hesitation is with the push? Because it looks like they have control of all the areas that they want control of, but it's like they're waiting on a certain signal, and it doesn't seem to come in until the last like 30 or 20 seconds. Yeah. So what do you think is the hesitation?
Yeah, and so I think for me, right, it could just be confusion. So it mostly probably rotated to communications. So for Sinister, I think maybe, you know, they need to take a deep look at kind of their communication mid-round to see what they're calling out, because communication's easy, you know, when again for their initial roam clear, you know, not really anybody's there, you're droning going, hey, like person here, nobody's here, clear, whatever you have set up. They start to stall out when I imagine the point of the round where you have 5 people aggressively talking, trying to relay utility locations, enemy locations, which we saw, right? So there are frostbites in there. You know, we either weren't tracking or were confirmed on. We had players that took a while to burn, utility that took forever to coordinate to get rid of. And I think a lot of that either comes down to communication with independent initiative, or there's not that strong voice if that's what they need, you know, and that's what they want as a team to kind of execute it. They're missing that kind of like strong mid-round voice to kind of be the chaos manager for Team Sinister in terms of prepping for that final execute. So I think once, especially on maps like this where it's fairly narrow, you know, you can't stack 5 people through the library door. I think kind of those positions have to be called out and moved out and around on that map to find those points where you can very aggressively kind of take charge of those long angles and not have to stack a couple doorways, and they just need that guidance, I think.
I'm also noticing too, we're pretty spread out here. There was an initial trophy take, it looked like, for a second there, but then they changed things up, and now they're like split across the map here. I'm curious what their strategy is here.
Yeah, this is weird, right? So we saw earlier on that within the first 30 seconds on the upstairs defense, they were immediately trying to clear out techs, and initially I think it was Strona playing below with her on the room clear, right? And they're trying to get through that room clear. But it seems like they spent a minute to try and do it a different way on the trophy side, realized there's too many mute jammers, couldn't get info. They now rotate around, so now a minute and a half in, they're kind of a minute behind pacing where they were before, and they still don't have kind of this full picture of what's going on, with nothing really to show for it in terms of kills either. And again, you know, with just about a minute left, there's still 2 C4s underneath with that cardiac sensor. With its incredibly long range, and then all the defense is still alive. So Team Sinister are gonna have to get really aggressive here if they want to make this happen. The initial utility burn not quite connecting there, but Brutal able to trade out onto Ava, as we're also able to, you know, kind of close out onto Brittany there on that initial burn. It was a good attempt to get the stun burn in with the nade kill to try and get rid of the shield and the ADS, which ultimately really, again, unable to connect. But, you know, 4v4, not the end of the world, walls opening, you know, kind of job done. What I'm really concerned now is, again, for the double C4 still below prep for plant. And if Sinister doesn't rotate somebody down below to kind of manage that, I think they're going to be in trouble. And we're seeing that brilliant utility usage from Homeland once again here. Dire, you know, she's starting to use those toxic babes now with just 30, 40 seconds left and really counting down that time management. Team Sinister, though, incredibly good at gunfights, right? And that's kind of what I'm confused about in terms of their hesitation to take the gunfights, because I mean, to this point, and from everything we know about them, they've always been a very aggressive team that, like, they specialize in killing. And they're just not really finding that right now. A couple trades going to come out, though. You were able to get a couple Strona onto Lady Brutal, and now in a 1v2, Queen, though alone and unafraid, having to cover up top, tries to shoot into Strona on piano, unable to connect. Dire closes down that diffuser right as it's about to go off, and round number 5 for Homeland Esports.
Super unfortunate ending there. It looked like they had it. They were getting the plant down. They got a couple picks to kind of secure it, but yeah, just a couple bad shots and bad angles, and they were close it out by denying the plant.
Yeah, and you know, I don't want it to seem for me in the chat, you know, that like we're being partial on Homeland or Sinister or vice versa. I personally, you know, like we all love, and we know our team has a long scrim history with Team Sinister, and vice versa. And again, one of the things that we've always appreciated about them is they're an aggressive team that go for gunfights, but also like really brilliant utility usage. So I don't know if it's maybe they're not comfortable with Chalet, or, you know, maybe again they're just kind of lacking that mid-round communication piece of this. But Homeland really taking advantage of that and using the time delay, I mean, full on. And you can tell they're incredibly practiced on Chalet, and I think you can really tell that Homeland were ready for this map tonight. This is what they wanted it to go to. In terms of just both the way they're playing, but also the way they're using utility. Again, we talked about in those key spots, and able to use the plant denial, you know, wall denial, all the way across the board, even with a Thatcher left online. Homeland really putting in work on defense. And when we look at historic rates, I mean, Chalet is one of those maps that is currently, or at least historically, right, like pretty significantly attacker favored. Again, that's in T2, T1, etc. So I'm not really sure how much that translates down to necessarily the T3/T4 level. But at the same time, you really kind of got to be worried here just a little bit for Team Sinister, and hoping that they can turn this around on defense, and that Homeland can maybe, you know, if you're a Homeland fan, can maintain this this quality of play here on defense. But again, they're being fairly passive, and it's working for them and holding their ground. So, you know, we may be hoping that Homeland can transition that aggression that we're not seeing from Team Sinister right now when the side switch here next round.
So once again, Sinister going for a reading side push. Both have Sledge and Zofia, some hard hitters to go for the roam clear. I really do like where this is going to go here. But it looks like Lady Brutal was taken out.
Yeah, and that's a really early pick from Strona, and that's all the way down. It looks like outside trophy or there below. But again, right? 35, 40 seconds in, Team Sinister has control of the entire half of the map, and the opening kill there for at least Team Sinister onto Ava, and that's going to be from E-Girl there on Ego Balcony. But again, right, Sinister looking very aggressive now. So we talked about Homeland trying to buy that time, and you can see it. Like, Ava got punished for trying to vault back early and kind of buy that time, either, you know, doing it a little too late instead of just maybe, you know, who knows, playing the shield. E-Girl going to go almost down to low health, and I think that was actually from below on a long angle through the floor, if I'm not mistaken. They're from Dire. But now Queen and Brittany both getting very aggressive upstairs, and Master and Piano trying to push Secret out of those trophy staircase area, and they are going to be able to do that for sure. Getting the frost mats this time, Brittany not going to get caught twice on the frost mats, and again, we're on much better pacing now, right? Dire almost going down to this vertical flame, but now over a minute left, and Sinister has full control upstairs and able to start making those holes. So if you're a Team Sinister fan, this is what you want to see, but Strona still determined to not let that happen as she guns down Brittany again, kind of on that vertical play there, and trying to keep Homeland in for this final round to put them in a 5-1 half here on defense in Chalet.
3v4. This is looking like it's going to be in the favor of Homeland again. Smokes are out.
Yeah, and again, right, just very practiced. Right, you see Dire wait until that time opens, the breach opens, and they're using it instead to deny plant. They're using it to deny time. So as soon as it's exposed, Dire takes a second, throws another one, it goes again at maximum time burn, and really forcing Sinister to wait to the last second to plant. But again, last time this didn't really pay off for Homeland too much, as that dining execute from Sinister just, you know, too strong for them. And there's the one round they won. The Pyre's going to come in. The smoke was saved though this time, and Dire able to use that last and final toxic bait to close out onto Pyra. Eagle coming up from below and trying to enter, but Texas Strona too strong there, and the flank coming up late also from Fireplace just in case. But that's the first half, and Homeland up 5-1 on a Chalet defense, which again, if you're a Team Sinister fan, you've got to be worried. And if you're not, again, super familiar with competitive play and you're just kind of tuning in to support your teams, 6 rounds on a half, right? So Homeland just spent 6 rounds on defense, Sinister 6 rounds on attack. Now the next 6 rounds are going to be Team Sinister on defense and Team Homeland on attack. However, the first to 7 wins. So if Sinister still wants to win this in regulation, they have to win the next 6 rounds of their defense every round without dropping one if they want to pull this off in regulation time frame. And Homeland only has to win 2 of the next 6, so they can drop 4 rounds and still pull this off. So if you're a Homeland fan, looking fairly strong, but you know, maybe this kind of strategic, tactical, slower play from Team Sinister is going to pay off for them on the defense transition here. And the initial site kind of mimicking, well, not really mimicking, but it's just because it's the strongest site on the map right now currently, is going to be Bar. And, you know, we talked about this setup earlier. The Frost is going to be a pretty common setup here at the Jaeger, the Goyo. We're seeing tons of shields, tons of utility burn come out. But the reason I love Chalet so much, and really especially these first 4 sites, is it allows the defenders to play all 3 floors with a reworked Chalet, you know, top, bottom, and middle, and forces the attackers to, you know, kind of contend with that and play with that, but also while still giving options, you know, kind of for the attack, different locations, different sections. So me personally, I really enjoy the rework on Chalet, but you know, both of these girls teams here are doing an incredible job of kind of showing off its intricacies, the strategy behind it, but then also the gunplay that can happen on a Chalet that makes it come so enjoyable to watch.
Yeah, I really enjoy the flexibility that the Chalet rework brought. I feel like there's more sites that are playable now, a little bit more availability in the setup that you can bring. Before, I just felt like it was just 2 sites. Reading, you wouldn't even touch the reading site, but yeah, I love variability now. And it looks like we're having a run out from Pulse, and it barely gets the kill at the end there, and it looks like they had an equal trade. What an explosive start to the round.
Yeah, and that's crazy. But again, aggression just coming out is again maybe Team Sinister. We we talk about aggression, right? They need that aggression on attack and maybe not as much on defense. Is this over aggression is just paying? So obviously the Heartbreak's going down. I'm not going to negate how massive a loss that is for Homeland, but Team Sinister now paying for it with both their real true roamers. You know, Queen on Vigil and Brittany on Jaeger, and with really not much to show for it. And the Mozzi's still buying some time though. But I will say to caveat that, right? If there's a site on Chalet that you're not as worried about hard breach, this would probably be about the only one you could get away with not having dedicated hard breach on. And again, it's super useful for this office wall open up to kind of get through that utility on top blue / fireplace. But especially when Team Sinister is not even really playing anybody on that top blue shield, not as much to worry about. And I think they're going to do fine without the hard breach. But Team Sinister, as long as Homeland takes their time, still in a very winnable position despite being down a player.
I know exactly what you mean about them being able to get away with the hard breach on this site. There's some sites where, without opening those hard breach walls, it's just a fatal funnel into a couple doorways. You know, like Wine, for example. There's just only a couple entrances with this reading site, game gym site. You know, there's a few entrances the attackers come in, and there's some soft walls that you can also try to breach the site as well, including the vertical play that's involved. That's now introduced.
Yeah, and interesting aggression there from Lady Brutal as well in library, and they're gonna punish that as well. And so now left to a 4v2 here with just 45 seconds left for Homeland on the attack, and that is the entire top floor roam cleared. The Frostmat though claiming yet another victim, so that's a victim number 2 in this matchup as Tex falls prey there as the Thatcher on top fireplace big window with that. But you know, again, it's just we see all this utility dedicated to holding upstairs. Shields fireplace, shields blue. You know, very standard setup. But the players aren't alive to kind of play that because you have to have somebody on that lobby / kitchen side to kind of watch that long blue hall on the late flanks there. You have to have somebody inside or at least close, right? But again, just the punishment coming out here is Strona gets deep into sight through E-Girl, but Secret and Ava able to close out onto Pyre and E-Girl, and that is round number 7 for Homeland. Now putting them on match point here in playdate number 1 for Eris. So if you're Team Sinister, you got to be a little down, right? So with the 6th round now secured by Homeland, or the 6th point, excuse me, Sinister can only win in overtime, which guarantees them only 2 points as opposed to the 3 if they'd won in regulation, vice versa for Homeland. Homeland has now firmly secured themselves 1 point, no matter what happens. 2 if they win in overtime, 3 if they win in regulation. So Homeland got to be on kind of that high, and Sinister really are going to have to claw their way back if they have any chance of coming back and winning this. But I mean, E-Girl really putting in work there at the top for their team, but we're just not seeing the kinetic aggression on the teamwork that you need from Sinister, but also kind of controlled. So aggression is super good in Siege, right? Incredibly strong. Problem is when people don't use it calculated, and I think we've lacked that a little bit, both on Sinister's attack, but now also a bit on their defense. You know, again, some from Homeland as well, right? They fall back a little early. They're not playing calculatedly aggressive enough on their defenses. But I mean, something's working out for Homeland because again, up 6-1, Sinister just not seeing like the Team Sinister that I think everybody knows right now, and maybe just the first game jitters come back stronger for the rest of the season because again, it is only playdate number 1. And if you're just joining us, it's playdate number 1 for Project Eris, which you can find out more about if you type !Project Eris in the chat. That'll get you their Discord link, and then also the Twitch link to their channel. So after this, we're going to host and raid into that Twitch channel where you can catch the remainder of the games all night. There are 4 games being casted on that channel tonight, so plenty more action to watch, especially if you're trying to keep up with the standings and going to be super involved with Project Eris as it goes throughout the season. But round number 8 is underway, and again, this is match point for Homeland. So Team Sinister in kind of a do-or-die position, choosing to go upstairs now on this hold, and Homeland kind of on hopefully what is their home stretch, as Pyre going to fall out of library and down onto blue stairs to try and rotate back and retake into library. Maybe his initial aggression from Homeland comes out. Again, Homeland maybe taking a little bit more time, but I really am, again, enjoying this aggression here from both Pyra and Lady Brutal playing on this top blue, but worried about Secret kind of pinching them off there from that top blue stairs window, which is going to finally start to happen. And Secret from that top blue window going to close out onto Pyra, and that's just going to leave Lady Brutal alone and unafraid here On the run, but going to rotate off as now E-Girl's also taking damage. And so I'm just not sure if this is Team Sinister not aware of the angles maybe necessarily that Homeland are holding or able to identify them from, or they're just maybe missing the calls or what. But again, I think it all comes down to that communication issue we talked about earlier, Kazrep.
Yeah, it's that stall. They do their initial drone, and then they get control site. They get a pick maybe or two, and then they execute on the site. So let's see if they'll repeat the same actions as Sinister. Hopefully, maybe they'll be a little bit quicker though.
Yeah, and Homeland again, minute and 20 seconds left, already opening up into the main wall. So no smokes on the side for Team Sinister. They do have one C4 left, but it's not going to matter as now this another gun is taken out, and that's Shrona onto Lady Brutal. Now leaving Team Sinister in a 3v5 here with Plant, about to go down and control of all Fireplace and top blue. So with just that one C4 left from Eagle, but not really in a position to throw it.
Ooh, that was such a close C4. Oh man, that would have been a double kill, and that would have been amazing to see.
Yeah, no, that would have been incredible for Sinister, but then here's my concern, right? Is now any form of Plantinol they have is gone. So with walls and holes open, it's going to be all gunfights. But Brittany aggressively excited about the gunfights, able to close out on the text and looking for yet another one on to Dire, but able to close it out. Is now in a 1v4. Negro gets traded out, and Ava closes it out for Homeland as they win 7-1 here on Chalet. And again, an incredibly aggressive start for Homeland. And if you're playing Homeland next week, you got to watch out. And if you're a Team Sinister fan, maybe just slowing down, thinking through some of the processes and figuring out what went wrong this week and getting back into being the team that we know the ladies on Team Sinister can be. Just you look at the kill spread, and it just seems like something wasn't clicking there on Team Sinister. Not that kills mean everything, but when there's that much of kind of disparity, especially with that massive a loss, you know that some things have got to change there kind of on that back end just a little bit.
Yeah,
But
make some adjustments, or maybe they're just unfamiliar. Maybe that was the advantage that Homeland took, was the map. Maybe they knew that we are the strongest on Chalet, and Sinister doesn't have that many strats, and we'll take advantage of that.
yeah, and I don't know what are your final thoughts? Do you have any final thoughts here for kind of the gameplay from what we saw besides what we've already broken down?
Yeah, it was a quick game. It was fun to watch, but overall, it's very obvious that Homeland is extremely strong on Chalet. So congrats to them and their win.
Yeah, huge win for them. Incredibly exciting to watch the game, especially if you're a Homeland fan, as they came out strong. And here in a second, we're going to take you away and we're going to rotate you over to kind of the Project Eris main Twitch page. So we're going to give that a raid so you can go back and watch the remainder of the games there tonight. And again, all these ladies are competing for a chance at a total of a $10,000 prize pool between, items and kind of, just straight cash. So big chance for some of these ladies and these teams to kind of get their names out, but then also get some goodies while they're at it. So be sure to give them all support, like and follow them on Twitter, support the league as it progresses over the next several weeks, and stay tuned for more gameplay over there on their channel. In any case, I'm Misfit Minus, joined by Kazrup, and we really appreciate you guys hanging out with us tonight, although kind of a shorter game. And stay tuned for more Project Eris.
Yeah, thanks everybody for stopping by, and take it easy, everybody.